everyone, today I'll be explaining the game Luto. Luto is a psychological horror game that was released this year in July, but I knew about the game from the demo that dropped in 2023. This game is pretty special to me, so I'm really looking forward to be explaining it today. My explanation will go over the symbolism and meaning of the story within the game. This is just my interpretation, and you're welcome to share yours in the comments down below. Just a fair warning, there will be mentions of death, PTSD, trauma, suicide, and grief. With that said, let's get into explaining Luto. The word Luto is a Spanish word that means in mourning or grieving. It's a perfect title name for the game because it sums up essentially what the entire game is about. But the game goes deeper than that. It explores the different stages of grief, survivor's guilt, and being haunted by the ghosts and memories of your past. We navigate the inner psyche of someone who is grieving. That someone is Samuel, who has lost many loved ones in his life. We're given information that he has been in the middle of moving, but has been reluctant to do so as he is stuck in the past and being haunted with the memories that come from this house. Certain places can remind us of people and experiences that make it hard for us to leave the places where we held those memories. We start the game in the bathroom with a shattered mirror. There isn't any definitive answer to what happened prior to the game starting, but I presume he might have hit his head into the mirror from not being able to deal with all the emotions he was feeling about moving and blaming himself for the death of all his loved ones. He goes unconscious and the entire game is played within Samuel's mind. I wouldn't say it's all a dream, but more like an inner self-awakening. Samuel's inner world is symbolic of his passions, which are screenwriting, film directing, and storyboarding. These are all directly tied into the gameplay, such as finding the drawings for the storyboards, including a voice that narrates while we play, the cinema bars closing in on us, the screenplay when he reveals each loved one, and even the behind the scenes when his inner world starts collapsing. Samuel's subconscious is literally a film about himself, but instead of playing an active role in his story, he is chained within the cinema bars of his life. Normally, the movie or film that we're watching is shown in between the two black bars, so why is he shown inside the space that is normally black? It symbolizes how he is not willing to play an active role in his own life. He can't be the main character to his own story. Why? Because he blames himself for the death of his loved ones. He feels guilty, and the guilt keeps him trapped. It keeps him stuck without being able to move on and continue the story or film of his life. If you ever lost someone you love, then you'll know what it means to have survivor's guilt. Why couldn't it have been me? It's all my fault. I should have done more. They died because of me. Thoughts like these plague Samuel's mind and anyone who has ever lost a loved one. We blame ourselves for thinking we could have prevented their death if only we did this or if only we did that. For Samuel, he is haunted by the ghost of his loved ones. Not physical manifestations, but the ghost of their memory living within his mind. They're symbolized as sheet ghosts littered throughout the game. When Samuel confronts the narrator, he asks him who he is. He tells him,
I am one of the many voices you hear in your head. I can be the narrator, the ghost, the monster, the god. I am whatever you need me to be, so I can be your complete destruction, or your most precious companion. It's up to you.
The narrator is himself. The person calling him on the phone is also himself. It symbolizes the different thoughts you hear in your head, which are usually your own voice. The way you talk to yourself can either be mean and critical or supportive and encouraging. The game is highly influenced by the psychoanalyst Carl Jung. Carl Jung's personality theory focuses on the interplay between the conscious and unconscious mind, universal archetypes, the ego, the self, and the shadow self. The theory emphasizes the integration of various aspects of personality to achieve self-realization and encompasses universal and individual dynamics. There is no coming to consciousness without pain. People will do anything in order to avoid facing their own soul. One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. The game is a reflection of his inner conflict of self-blame and guilt for not being able to save his loved ones. His mind creates a game where he can have a chance to save them, thereby saving himself from succumbing to self-loathing and self-deprivation. Even though in real life they already died, he knows he can't change that. At least he can save them in his dream. and gives him some semblance of peace. As he slowly begins to heal and comes to terms with the role he played in their deaths, the world around him begins to break down because he is breaking free from his own self-inflicted cage. To be clear, this is the psyche of someone who did not kill or contribute to anyone's death. All the deaths of his loved ones happened by natural causes like illness, medical conditions, old age, or complete accident. This is someone who blames himself because he felt powerless in situations that he had no control over. It's a lesson that he has to learn, and for anyone who blames themselves for something they never had control of, you have to learn to accept the truth and that it's not your fault. In the end, he is faced with himself. He talks to himself and reflects on his thoughts and his perceptions about the deaths of his loved ones. He gains the self-realization and acceptance that grieving and mourning is a process. No amount of self-blame and guilt will change the fact that they are gone. But what he can change is his own actions and what he decides to do with his life to honor their lives. For the last time, we wake up in the bathroom again, but this time, everything is all clean and packed. Samuel is finally ready to move on and continue living for himself and the ones he loved. Before he leaves, the narrator says,
"Until next time."
It doesn't mean he won't hit a roadblock again, because in life, you never know what can happen. But he knows that whatever does happen, he can overcome it because he did it before and got himself out of the darkness. I did, and you can too. I lost a family member to suicide when I was 15. He was the same age as me, so we grew up together and we went through every milestone together. It's been more than over a decade, but there hasn't been a moment that I don't think about him every day. My grieving won't ever end, but I stopped blaming myself for not having done more, because I was tired of reliving the same moment before his death and asking myself endless what-if questions. I realized his death was his own choice, and I wasn't responsible for that. What I am responsible for is choosing to live my life in a healthy way without blaming myself and leading a life that I wish he could have lived. The ending dedicates the game to those who have lost loved ones, and I think it's so beautiful and fitting. This game meant a lot to me and my own experiences. I hope you give this game a chance and tell me what you think about it in the comments down below. Please let me know your thoughts and what you think I should explain next. Thank you for watching, and remember to like the video and please subscribe.